once, and then it makes you press it again. Anyway, we're live now. Yeah. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Nick and Drake. You lucky people are being treated to a fourth post-fight podcast this week. If you count Tuesday's Lee Family Media Day as a podcast, because we kind of just did an hour of talking shit afterwards. So I'm counting it as a podcast.
Yeah.
So we're back because I wasn't expecting to, but we're here because Kyoji Horiguchi, that was a very brief free agency he entered one day, although Drake was telling me they recorded that podcast maybe a little while ago. So anyway, he signed with Bellator. We discussed what may happen to him yesterday on the show. It's official now. Kyoji Horiguchi signs with Bellator, so I thought me and Drake would jump on. Drake is the man when it comes to all things Rizin, so I wanted to pick his brains about what this means for Rizin and what it means for Horiguchi. Drake, take it away. Your initial reaction, sir, to this bombshell news.
Oh, bombshell.
That's right.
Well,
I said bombshell.
well, Nick, as I think I'm pretty in the know with this kind of stuff. And first of all, let's just get it out of the way that I've really been enjoying the AEW professional wrestling side of things lately, Nick. You and I both, and Dan Lambert, I think he's doing a great job. He's a hell of a heel, over on that platform. And unfortunately, though, I think it's dripping a little bit into the MMA side, and that's where we got all this kind of mess yesterday, in particular, with this podcast released, which was not as fresh as it seemed by coming out. And then even today, Nick, I don't know if you saw, but the ATT Twitter account did a poll that was like, where would you like to see Horiguchi go next? And it listed UFC, Rizin, Bellator, acting as if they didn't really know that things were done. Obviously, it's not like this got done just right after that or anything. So a little bit funny, silly. I always expected, as of yesterday, once it kind of started becoming a thing, and I saw that while we were on here and quickly got to the bottom of things, I assumed it had to be Bellator. There's already that relationship there. Here it is right there.
Well, I'm going to vote for Bellator.
Hey, there you go.
I'm right.
Yes, there was already the direction for the Bellator title shot, him trying to reclaim his title that he never lost, just by itself naturally after he reclaimed the Rizin title on New Year's Eve against Kaya Sakura in that rematch. It was always pointed in that direction. They were friendly. The problem was just that Kyoji is practically living in America now, training at ATT, obviously down in Florida. So a lot harder for him, despite being Japanese, a Japanese citizen, all that, to go back and forth to Japan during these times. Rizin has been essentially exclusive to domestic fighters since the pandemic started, and they've done a great job with it, and they were able to get Horiguchi over for that New Year's show, thankfully, but just to keep that consistent enough to where he could fight like twice a year in Rizin right now kind of is too much trouble for him, it would seem. So Bellator was the obvious choice to do, while still keeping that integrity of him staying as the Rizin champion and being able to fight in his home of Japan, because he is maybe the biggest Japanese star in the sport right now. I mean, it's arguable. He's definitely up there, but they don't want to lose him. He doesn't necessarily want to leave Japan entirely. He does want the Bellator title back, has always wanted it back. He never lost it, all this kind of stuff. So it isn't surprising at all. And it was kind of fun for I'm sure, fans and everyone to fantasize about the options of him maybe going back to the UFC and won for a matter of hours, while that was never really, true too much. But this makes plenty of sense actually for the situation right now. And it's exciting that, he's not leaving entirely, because he's still the Rizin champion. Just the hope is for one fight a year now. Well, he can go and do that as long as he's champion. Who knows if that'll change if he is to lose his Rizin title, but he is still a champ. There's still a tournament going on right now. He will very likely be Sergio Pettis' next opponent. He should be, which is very exciting. But I think this works out for everybody considering the circumstances. So it's a little bit unfortunate that this is what it took, but I think it'll be fine. And it's not too crazy of a change. We'll just see more Kyoji and Bellator, which is not a bad thing.
Well, let's see what Kyoji had to say. I've got this article here by some bloke on BJ Penn. Drake Riggs. Who's that?
That guy.
Who's this loser? Yeah, Kyoji Horiguchi joined his Bellator roster. Will still compete in Japan. So he put out a statement, and you've put this statement in here. You've translated it for me, so I don't have to. Thank you. And here is what it said: to all who always support me. I'm currently in Florida. Been living a life with nothing but training because of COVID. It's been extremely difficult for me to enter Japan under the right conditions. This is a big matter, and all fighters, for me and for all fighters living outside of Japan. I came to Rizin in 2017 with ambitions of reviving the Japanese combat sports scene, and have shown it in my fights. All of your support has given me strength, and even now your support is the motivation for me to keep grinding so far away from Japan. However, I cannot compete constantly. It's not an ideal situation for me, and I can't just sit here and wait. I was put in a spot where I had to make a decision. I've reached out to Mr. Sakakibara and Mr. Koka to see what could be done, and I've chosen to sign with Bellator. But I will not be jumping ship, as I'll be representing Japan and Rizin while I take on new challenges in the Bellator cage. Wow, this is a lengthy statement. Okay, well, I think we got the gist of it there. But yes, so he's not tearing up his ties with Rizin, which is good. When do you think he will compete? Just maybe on those New Year's Eve shows every year, once a year or something like that?
I mean, that would be the smart move, right? Like somebody of his caliber, his talent, he's become a Japanese legend. I think that's fair to say. And why wouldn't you want him on those shows? So it's going to be very interesting to see how they kind of plan out the bantamweight divisions, comings and goings each year to build up to that, right? Which kind of makes it cool. You could maybe, in theory, because of this, now do tournaments every year to see who faces Horiguchi at the end of the year, Nick. Like that would be pretty fucking cool, actually. That just came to me. So who knows? Maybe with the end
trademark
of this,
that idea.
yeah, I know. Come on, Rizin, we're tight. You can give me that credit there. But the winner of this tournament, maybe they set it up that way. This could be the beginning of something incredible.
Sounds good to me. So Rizin put out a statement as well. Could you give us the gist of what they said? Because I can't speak Japanese nor read it, but right, I think you're better than me at that, or you've got it translated. But what did they say?
So yeah, it was pretty much saying that Bellator and Rizin, they're determined to continue working together, taking the sport to the next level. Sakakibara and Koker have been able to work through several things together, and aside from the Horiguchi stuff, they want to keep him active, allow him to have that opportunity. If conditions allow, Horiguchi will come and fight in Japan at least once a year, as Horiguchi also was stating, due to the pandemic, all that stuff. And of the other things that are in here, which were interesting to me, was, that Bellator Japan, that is now planned to, be annual events. We saw the one at the end of 2019 when things were normal still in the world. They want to make that a regular thing and continue the cross promotion with fighters coming and going, facing off against each other, and then just kind of a bunch of thank yous and how grateful they are to be able to make this kind of thing happen. So yeah,
very nice of them, very classy. No bridges burned, it seems, right?
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, that's the great thing about I was gonna say most promotions that aren't the UFC is like they're all pretty friendly and able to work together for the most part. But I think Bellator and Rizin are the two most genuine, and we've seen them work with not just each other, but like Invicta and KSW and plenty of other promotions too. So I would be surprised if anything went too south. But especially with a fighter of Kyoji's caliber, like it's good to see that they're not like fighting over him,
Sure thing. Do remember, if you haven't already, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you've not done that, please. The information is there in the banner. Check it out. And that will really help us with the algorithm and all that stuff, which we really want to help bring more content, more podcasts and all that stuff, covering Asia and beyond. But also, Drake, I want to read some comments here.
Of course.
Before we move on. USA is where the dollar's at, says Dubc_209.
I mean, in the case of Horiguchi, not necessarily. And, even some other fighters, Nick, I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday with Chris, who I did see in the comments. Good to see you, sir. The Japanese fighters, especially in Rizin, you can make some pretty good money. And even with the tournament that is going on right now, the Bantamweight tournament, they have revealed their prices, and they're not anything crazy, but better than some entry level UFC contracts and shit like that. And even Roberto Satoshi de Souza, the current lightweight champion, pretty content where he's at. So of course that can always change, but it's very situational, I think. And in terms of a star like Horiguchi, I don't think this is about the money for him. And if you're going to talk about the market in MMA, though, I mean, there's a debate for that for sure. I mean, very westernized sport for the most part.
All right, Tristan asking, do you guys know if the UFC was interested at all in bringing Horiguchi back? Have you heard anything about that, Drake?
I don't know. And yeah, I can't really speak to that, but I don't even think there was any time to. Bellator and Rizin have been so close, and I kind of, from what I was hearing, I think that this has kind of started about a month ago or so. I don't think there was any time for really anyone else to get involved. And because of that, it leads me to believe like Horiguchi wasn't even really thinking about that. All the stuff, again, as I said off the top, that you heard about other promotions and free agency, all Dan Lambert pro wrestling promotional nonsense drama. Like we're getting to a point with ATT. We saw Colby's not there anymore, but very gimmicky. Lambert is literally in the midst of storyline kind of an AEW, right, Nick? So like, you guys,
I'm enjoying it. Yeah,
yeah.
He's good on the mic. Yeah, he clearly loves wrestling and has a very big knowledge of it and a lot of passion. They've kind of created him as a Jim Cornette type character, haven't they? A boomer, so to speak.
Completely
criticizing the younger generation. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's fun storyline. He can clearly talk. I haven't listened to that podcast with Kyoji. I think Adriano Moraes was on it, right?
Yeah, he was on it too. But point is, though, I mean, people, I think we got to start to realize, like, don't take everything these certain managers with this kind of style are putting out there. There's a reason they're kind of doing it. It's just for the buzz. So, I mean, that's maybe most managers, but I feel like in this case, look at these guys who are, doing this other stuff. So, but essentially, to answer your question, Tristan, I don't think there was any time for the UFC to even maybe know about it,
Looking very Shield era Seth Rollins today, Drake.
Oh yeah, was that a comment or is that your opinion?
No, that's me.
Okay,
I'm gonna show you what I mean. You remember his haircut?
Yeah, when he had the side, right, the blonde side.
Yeah, let me show people what I mean. Don't want it
The
to be
architect.
lost on anyone. The architect, Seth Rollins. For me, the best Seth Rollins. Yeah, I wish he would go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Right. You can see that, guys. Drake looking very Seth Rollins today. I hope people know who Seth Rollins is.
All right. Okay. It's because my roots are coming out.
Oh, okay. It's not by design. Architect design. Very good. More comments, more questions. I think you already talked about a Grand Prix, right? Terrence is asking, you do think there may be one, or you thought about in Rizin, but you think maybe in Bellator we'll have a Grand Prix? I don't know. What do you think?
I think that, that's kind of been put up in the air recently, because obviously this year people have really started to recognize how stacked just Bellator's bantamweight division is right now, with the people they brought in. Obviously Magomed and Rafion Stotts is still doing his thing. There's plenty of people to look at, and then Archuleta's still there. Pettis, I mean, I think that a bantamweight Grand Prix is probably going to happen at some point. I don't know if it'll be the next one. If they were to do one, I think that would probably be it, but I don't know. It feels wrong to put Horiguchi in that, though. He clearly deserves a title shot. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Terrence. That makes sense for sure.
Yep, never got to defend the belt, did he? So
nope.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. Pettis or Stouts will smash. Kyoji says Dub C. What do you think, Drake?
That's I mean, that's borderline troll. That's a troll comment practically. I mean, smash, I don't agree with that. If you've seen Horiguchi at all smashing, I don't think that is likely whatsoever. Could beat him maybe, but that's still a tough mountain to climb.
Here's we go. LX Leonix Salas, I hope I've pronounced that right. It says, I wanted Kyoji back in the UFC. Shame. Still, finale of the Grand Prix in Rizin should be for the belt. Zazakita says Pettis is getting knocked out by Kyoji. So Dubsy and Zazakita disagree here. This should have been a thing since March, says Brandon. Bantamweight Grand Prix coming soon in Bellator. Thanks, Alan Bone Jones. What's up, Alan? Good to see you again. Alan also would absolutely love to see Kyoji versus Magomedov and the champ Sergio Pettis. Plenty more comments there. But Jake, what do you think of that?
Yeah, those are incredible matchups. And the best, that's the most exciting thing about this is like it was kind of tough to assume when we would start seeing more cross promotion stuff. And while they could have done stuff with Kyoji, and that seemed like the direction they were going to do, allowing like him to not have to worry as much by just joining Bellator right now is great. And you look at the fact that we are still going through this Rizin Bantamweight Grand Prix. He has so many people to fight. Like, that's the insane thing about the bantamweight division in the world. But in Bellator, everyone's throwing out these matchups right now. Magomedov, Sergio Pettis, Stotts. He still hasn't even fought Naoki Inoue in Rizin, who I think is probably going to win the tournament. The Kaya Sakura trilogy's there. I mean, it's crazy how many challengers have actually kind of appeared for him, and he was only gone for a year, so there's going to be no shortage of options for Kyoji, that's for sure.
Tristan saying, I know you guys would prefer to have Horiguchi in Rizin or Bellator, but selfishly, I always want to see him compete in UFC against Brandon Moreno just because he's so good. Yeah, there would have been some fun matchups, right, Drake, if he'd gone back?
Oh, yeah. No, that would be amazing. And it was crazy and sad to think about, when he left at that time, on the winning streak and all that. But look what he did after, kind of really made up for it. He took himself to a brand new level, which makes us want that all the much more. A fight with Moreno would be insane. Even Figueiredo, you look at all the top guys in the UFC right now at flyweight, even bantamweight, because we know he can hang at 135 because that's where he's been since he left the UFC. So it's just, there's so many things that unfortunately we won't get to see, but there are so many options still. Like, that's the insanity of these weight classes and how crazy they've gotten everywhere now, Nick. Like, yesterday we were talking about the possibility of him in one, like that DJ rematch, something that I am actually bummed wasn't even close to on the table, but like,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. DJ's opponent we now know is not going to be Horiguchi, but it promises to still be something quite spectacular. I think the news will be broken this week or next week with Chatri speaking to Ariel Hawani. I can't remember.
It's going to be Sage.
Okay. Dylan Bowker up in the chat saying Lambert with Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's very own Ethan All Ego page. And don't forget about Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio, I feel like he's not wrestling enough.
Yeah. Did they say that he had MMA background? Because Lambert introduced him as a former MMA fighter or something. I never knew Scorpio Sky had an MMA. What's his name? Anyway, sure. I'll check that out. Shyla Andrews. Okay. Yeah, he's got a page on Sherdog.
Oh, wow.
He had 0 wins and 0 losses. Okay.
Must be amateur then.
Yes, 3 amateur fights, 2 wins and a loss, 2 TKOs and 1 split decision loss. So it wasn't too bad. But that was in 2014 and 2015. Interesting. And Ego Page, what's his name? All Ego. Ethan Page, I think, has a black belt or something in some kind of martial art. So yeah, Dan Lambert aligning himself with some men of the year, some top quality guys. More comments here. Chris Edwards Bailey, our very own Chris Edwards Bailey, says UFC has kind of abandoned Japan for other markets in Asia and elsewhere. Agree. Yes, I think so. Yeah, more importantly, they're looking at China a little bit more, aren't they? A lot more, Drake, I think.
Yes.
And they were looking at South Korea before pandemic. The final show I went to before the world shut down, that was UFC Busan. So Japan not really on their radar, is it? I think One Championship is going for that more, but I think they're struggling as well to take the foothold there.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody can really compete with Rizin at the moment, especially, having the Fuji TV deal, which is going to be massive for as long as that is around. Yeah, and you look at the UFC in particular, I mean, there's only like 4 fighters maybe in total from Japan. I mean, I know there's 2 women. There's Kanako and Mizuki Inoue, the sister of Naoki, who I mentioned earlier. And then I don't know if Takashi Sato's still on the roster. There's not a lot though. It's very slim pickings, and I'm surely forgetting some. But yeah, it's also, Chris. I mean, if you think about right now too, it's probably been harder to tap into that kind of stuff. You know, only being able to go to Abu Dhabi outside of America, this this whole climate, which is practically why we're talking about this news and why it happened in the first place, is like it has thrown off everything so much, you know, and clinging on to China, that's for sure, Nick.
Yeah, no one can get into China at the moment. I don't think that'll change till 2023, I'm pretty sure. So not sure what the UFC's plans are there. Terrence saying, I think Dan is trash in AEW.
Ooh,
Just sounds like a try-hard boomer living out his heel dreams.
that's the point, though.
That's the point, yeah. I'm enjoying it. Alan asking thoughts on Bryan Danielson AEW. I'll keep it brief because I know this is an MMA podcast. But yes, very excited to see the American Dragon there, Bryan Danielson. And that was great, him confronting Kenny Omega on Dynamite. Dream match for me, obviously. So many dream matches. I'm a big fan of AEW. I don't really watch WWE anymore. Drake and I are talking about potentially starting our own pro wrestling podcast. So watch this space. It may happen, Alan Bones Jones. I know you'll be watching, maybe a few others, hopefully. But let us know if you want that type of content. But we're figuring that one out. But yes, you're happy to see Bryan Danielson as well, Drake, I imagine, in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, simply for the fact I'll shamelessly admit, Nick, that I think WWE is horrible now, and I'm all on the
Yes.
AEW train. But it's funny because I wasn't really as interested in Brian's kind of final moments with the WWE and everything, but I'm definitely interested to see how it goes now, and anything with Kenny that grabs my attention for sure. So that'll be pretty great.
All right, we'll go back to MMA then. Do you think Bellator or UFC will have a women's atomweight first? There are a lot of undersized women fighting at strawweight. I think you mean undersized. Terrence asking.
That's a pretty good question right there, Terrence, and it's something that I think there was a huge moment for that could have been capitalized on, and I want to say around the end of the year 2018, where UFC should have pulled the trigger when Jin Yu Fry was the Invicta champion. And I pretty much mention this every single time that this kind of question's brought up, but they didn't do it, missed the boat. Things have kind of changed a little bit since then, but not for the worse. But it's just the thing with the atomweight division is that the talent is so kind of spread out around the world and mostly in Asia, like Hamasaki's over in Rizin, Kana Sakura, all the top girls are really locked down right over there. And so if the UFC was to do this and make a division, nobody's going to believe they have the best fighters unless they have those ones I just mentioned. Of course, there's going to be some strawweights that drop down, which will make it more exciting and more fun, which is a reason I would love to see that. But I just don't know if the UFC, Dana's very mildly teased it, and I have heard things from fighters who have heard things in the UFC where it's like, yeah, I've heard they're interested, I've heard they're not, but they're not doing anything with it. There was a brief rumor of the Ultimate Fighter. I don't want to see it in the UFC because I know they'd screw it up. They would screw it up right now. It would be a repeat of like the featherweight division, maybe, which nobody needs. Bellator has actually already had atomweight fights, at least. They don't have a division, but they also have this collaboration with Rizin to where if they did start it, they'd have the best fighters that I just mentioned. So it would be a lot more logical and feasible to make that happen. Every time I speak to Scott Coker, I ask him, how close are we to an atomweight division? He says, not really not thinking about it, but it's possible. We'll have fights though. Not sure about a division, but they're already much closer than the UFC has been. So if it's going to happen first, it'll be Bellator. They already beat him to the featherweight division. They'll do it again here.
Bellator building slowly a deeper roster over time, says Tristan. Gets through some more comments here. Chris would love to know the viewership number in Japan on UFC Bellator Rizin and 1. I don't know off the top of my head anything like that. Do you think Inoue beats Asakura from Zazakita? Drake, I'll throw that to you again, of course.
I mean, that's the fight, right? That's the fight, says Akita. It's tough to say. We'll see how if Kai continues to look brilliant, rebounded in his next fight coming up here, like he did against Shuto. Like that was the exact performance he needed to show after losing to Kyoji. And then Inoue is just like, my God, he's morphed into such a monster in such a quick period of time, and still only like 23-ish. It's insane how good he has become, and probably should not have ever left the UFC. Like that was such a weird, I don't know if he was a release or if they didn't re-sign him, but a stupid move, man. Like if he was in the UFC right now, I mean, I think in my own personal rankings, which I update like after every event, I have him around like he's in the top 10. I believe he's that talented right now. So yeah, that fight is hard to pick, but you should strap the rockets to this guy instead of the moon, because he's gonna be around for a long time.
There we go. And another one from Chris. It's for you, Drake. Oh no, that's not it. Press the wrong button. There it is. Drake, which foreign organization do you think is the biggest in Japan?
Foreign organization, it's Rizin, easily, just from the stuff that I've heard. Yeah, it's not too close. And again, that Fuji TV deal is a big part for that, but nobody has been able to get too close. And that is including one championship. They've tried, but from what I've heard behind the scenes type things, it's definitely Rizin has that lockdown.
But it could all change with the Road to One Sexy Armor edition, right?
Just him alone. Put him on the screen.
Zazakita says, picking up prospects like Usman and contenders like Magomed is great. It makes a stronger roster. I think that's Bellator, right?
Yep.
Tristan Showerhouse talking with I'm Rick about the roster in Bellator. Good debate going on in the chat. Like to see it. Guys. Any more questions, please do let us know. Invicta will be kind of useless, says Brandon, if the UFC has an atomweight division. Also, most of the best atomweights are in one except for Alicia Zapatella.
Sorry, Brandon. Here we go again. They're not atomweights, though. They're not actually atomweights. You mentioned Alicia Zapatella, who I believe is like 4'11". You put her in against those 115 pound fighters in one championship. It's a different story. And she already is talking about wanting to be an Invicta double champ, which I think she needs to slow the brakes on, because she's, on a winning streak right now, but I think she should have lost, some of those fights, especially the last one. That's kind of a mixed question there because of the atomweight not being atomweight and whatnot, but
Alan Bones Jones is off to bed, guys. So yes, have a good day at school tomorrow, Alan. Thanks for watching, and yeah, check back later for more awesome content. Appreciate you guys watching. Japan, it's not foreign, says Chris. I can't
did I misread? Oh yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so you mean, all right, I get it now. Well, it would probably have to be the UFC then, I would think. I mean, they're the biggest in general. I don't have any, kind of. I mean, I've heard some stuff about that too. That's the safe pick, but I'm pretty sure that's the one to go with right there, Chris. If I'm, understanding the question properly.
So he means which organization outside of Japan is the biggest in Japan?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. When's the last time the UFC put on a show there?
It was probably, I don't know. My mind went right to Mark Hunt and Big Country, but that seems like too long ago. I don't know. Here, I could figure this out very quick, actually.
Well, one did a couple of big shows, obviously 2019. I think they had good crowd number for the first one, a New Era. It looked pretty packed. Second one, I can't really gauge because there was a typhoon. Right. So don't know how that affected ticket sales and such. But
last UFC event was September 23rd, 2017. That was the St. Preux and Okami one.
Wow.
Yeah.
What arena was it?
Saitama Super Arena.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I don't know the attendance figure that they had, but
for that UFC event, it was. Or did you mean for the one? The UFC one was 8,571.
Okay. Because one did the sumo hall, the Ryogoku Kogugikan, if I pronounced that right.
Well done.
The famed Sumo Hall, which is a smaller venue, but I love that venue. It's so much more intimate and charming. Although the Wi-Fi sucks and all the facilities are shit. You should have seen like 100 journalists sweating in a room with no aircon and no Wi-Fi.
I heard about the disaster it was. I remember talking to Tommy T. Shout out to him while it was going down. He's like, "This is bad, man."
Yeah, we were both there, hungover as hell, sweating a lot. Here we go. More comments, more questions. Terrence saying Bellator needs more women's weight classes. Dakota fighting at 125 at the time should be a crime. Now look how well she's doing. The right weight classes matter. Rizin also needs the women's 145 division.
Whoa. you had me till the end there, Terrence. And appreciate you, man. But yeah, I mean, nobody that isn't named Bellator needs a 145-pound division. That's just the state of the division. Unfortunately, there's just not enough people to try that unless you have. They all need to be in one place. So, I mean, I guess if they were to share again, like the atomweight thing we said earlier, if Rizin and Bellator shared their division, you could do that. But I don't know where that's coming from, my man.
Tristan saying that UFC is the biggest foreign organization in Japan, but Rizin is the biggest in Japan overall. Yes, I think we'll agree with that. Chris was pointing out OSP versus Okami. Yeah, he's quick on the draw. This Chris. Patricio Pitbull fought Emmanuel Sanchez twice, Daniel Strauss 4 times, Wilson Race twice, Pat Curran twice. Soon UFC has had this many rematches.
I don't know if anybody.
Yeah. Do you think there's a problem in Bellator, Drake, with some of these divisions, some of the rosters?
Well, there was a time where I was like feeling like Bellator was really spamming out a whole lot too many rematches. Like same thing. I think it was with Chandler as well, where he did
Monday Night Raw level rematches. What are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit close. It's hard to get on that level, but good full circle there. But you look at Pitbull and I mentioned Chandler; those are two of the longest tenured, if not the longest tenured, Bellator fighters ever. So, of course, they're going to fight a lot of the same people, maybe more than others, having been around for longer. But then I don't know. You look at some of the guys like Jim Miller and Cerrone, who have been around for a long time in the UFC. They haven't had nearly as much, but then they weren't champions too. Hanging around with these other guys you mentioned, Sanchez, who is one of the best in Bellator, Strauss, a former champion, beat Pitbull. Curran, also former champion. So I think it's very situational. Like that's an interesting thing to do a deep dive about, Rick. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's situational.
Brandon points out all those fights were bangers, though.
They weren't bad. They weren't bad.
More from Terrence saying, have you got thoughts on Colorado allowing pride rules? And do you think other organizations will have fights there with those rule sets? I believe this is for one championship, right? And they seem to be close to putting on a US show now. They're inching closer.
Yeah, I mean, you know anything, Nick?
I mean, all I know is, well, Chatri told me that they've had not just Colorado, multiple states. I don't know if that's true, if he's just saying that, but I don't know where or when. He says they have venues agreed, and it's just dates they're trying to find now, and they're not sure what to do. I think it's probably going to be early next year, because I think they've already got the rest of this year figured out for Singapore, just logistically. Okay. So I imagine we'll see that, maybe January, February next year.
Okay,
you might get Christian Lee versus Eddie Alvarez as a headliner somewhere, which would be pretty sick, I think.
Yeah. I actually was hearing some rumblings a month or so ago that they were gonna have one in the US at the end of the year, but that was, I don't know how solid that was from what I was hearing. But you would think it would have to be Colorado, though. Chatri teasing other places. I mean, if they don't allow how they do their fights with the rules and all that, would they do it, Nick? Like change the whole thing? That seems like I can't think of an organization that's ever completely shifted to collaborate with the rule set. I mean, Pride didn't even do that when they were in the US for their 3 shows. I think that they got the Nevada State Athletic Commission to allow them actually to do it this way. So I guess maybe I guess it is possible for them just to allow it for one or whatever Chatri could be talking about. But I think it's awesome that Colorado is allowing this and just kind of putting it out there, because then it allows the possibility for one to go right in there, as well as Rizin. Rizin could go there too if they ever want to do that just freely. And for new promotions to just start up in Colorado, in America, using those rules, which is a superior rule set, as we all know.
Yeah. I don't see other organizations really, going there and doing Pride rules, but let's see what happens with one. Dylan Bowker himself, Dylan, pointing out that Christian Lee seemed quite keen to headline a US show when I asked him about that. Yes, Dylan was on the media call with me. I think Drake was lurking somewhere. Mm-hmm. Were you asking questions? You were definitely lurking.
I was.
Yes, when the Lee family media day on Tuesday or Wednesday was it? I can't remember. They spoke about that. Yes, they definitely, I think, will do Eddie versus Christian. I think they probably have been saving it for this mythical first US show. But as Christian said, Eddie needs to win at least one fight.
I like that. I like that he's, kind of feeling that way, because that would make sense for Eddie to have to win a fight. But here's an interesting thought, though, Nick. If they do, and I'm sure that they will eventually, whenever it is, if it's next year, like you were saying, do a US show. Like, well, we have Christian as champ right now, Angela. Ton Lee lives in America, right? I'm thinking of all the people who...
Yeah, he's in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, how crazy you think they would try and make that show, just in theory?
Oh, Gary Tonin and Tan Leg in a fight.
Ah, right.
So I think Gary's back in... Has he left Puerto Rico now? I'm not sure. The squad is still down there. Now they've disbanded. I really don't know if he's gone back to... Was it New Jersey he was in before?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. They've got plenty of fighters who will want to fight in America, especially now you have to be vaccinated to fight in Singapore for one championship.
Right.
I think there are a lot of fighters who won't want to get vaccinated. And I know that there are many who are not. So that makes sense. Maybe it's going to speed up the process for one of putting on shows in America. We'll see, huh? One from Chris here. What about a women's openweight title? I miss Gabby Garcia beating up ex-pro wrestling grannies. Yeah.
I mean, well, I can tell you that I feel pretty confident, Chris, saying that Rizin at least is out of the Gabby Garcia sweepstakes. And I've heard of some other promotions maybe having interest in her until they found out how huge she is, and like, oh, I guess that her against our best girl would maybe be a little bit ridiculous. So Gabby might be out of luck when it comes to fighting anytime soon, honestly.
Well, fair enough. Yes, please ask any more questions, guys, if you have got anything you want to talk about. I have to leave in about half an hour, but I don't know if we'll go that long, but I have a meeting, so I'll have to get out of here. Yeah, nothing else. I think we're all caught up with the comments. So I don't know, Drake, have you got any other topics you want to discuss today? We've kind of hammered all the one championship stuff this week.
Yeah.
With Denise and Ham and the review. Yeah, some weeks are like that. It's one championship can go from being very quiet to very hectic, depending if there's some kind of controversy. So I like to give it some play when there is something to talk about. I haven't really discussed much UFC lately. I don't even know what's going on in that world. I'll have a little look on the MMA Junkie, MMA fighting. Yeah, MMA Junkie going with that Horiguchi news at the top. Nice to see. I guess it's all Holyfield and what's his name? Vitor at the moment. I don't really want to see that. Are you interested at all? I didn't want to see Vitor against De La Hoya either. Holyfield just looks, I mean, obviously in incredible shape, but he's too old, man. What is he, 58?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pad sparring session looked really, really uncomfortable. I kind of feel we're over these freak fight things have peaked already, and not freak fights. You know what I mean? These stupid Triller stuff. Is Donald Trump on this as well? I saw
Yeah,
gonna commentate. Oh my god.
like that's gonna be so
Yeah.
interesting to hear. I mean, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna watch the fights, but that's just like whose idea was that to have him actually on commentary? That's crazy to me.
Oh god. Crazy to think that Holyfield is still fighting at near 60. When's the last time he fought or did anything like this? I'm not
I have
sure.
no
It
idea.
feels like he's just come out of some long retirement here. They must
On
have paid him a
short
lot.
notice too. That's the
Yeah.
crazy thing to
Yeah.
me is like, dude, he wasn't even training.
Yeah. Well, should be a car crash, and I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably tune in if the time is right, the time of day when this is on. I don't know when is it Sunday night US this week or what?
Nick, man, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly don't
Yeah.
know which day it's on. I don't even watch regular boxing. So there we go. There we go.
Where's Alvin? I need
I
to
know.
give
I was
Alvin
just gonna
his
say.
sparkles.
I'm
Oh, that's
curious.
not it. That's the crickets. There you go.
Curious to hear what Alvin thinks about this kind of nonsense.
Saving the Alvin sound. Okay, you guys got Spider or Tito? Are you caring about that one a little more or not?
No, definitely not. But I expect Anderson to win.
Straight shooter over here. Okay, 2011 was Holyfield's last bout, points out Dylan Bowker. Okay, so that's
Wow,
10 years
10
ago.
years ago. Even then, he was too old.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Terrence asking, what do you think about Chatria and his reviews? I think he is the review team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he says there's 15 people, ex fighters, some current judges and current officials, internally and externally. Doesn't give any of the names, so you either take him at his word or you can say it's just him. I don't know. I haven't got an answer for you. Yeah, there's no way of knowing. Make of that what you will, but I would love to think there is a committee doing this. It sounds quite fun, being on the secret competition committee. Maybe they get together once a year in a secret underground lair,
It's like the Illuminati.
yes, and they review all these controversial one championship fights. And yeah, it sounds awesome. I don't know. I gotta take him at his word for it. He gets very pissed off, I think, when people say he's lying and all this. I don't know.
mean, the transparency, though, man. Come on.
Yeah,
It's like, it
it's an
reminds
issue.
me of.
It's
It
an issue in
reminds.
one, definitely transparency for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it reminds me of what the UFC what is it called? The not privacy policy, but the thing about what do you call it, Nick? When fighters they say inappropriate things or whatever. Mike Perry's been pretty problematic. And the code of conduct. The UFC says they have one, but we've never seen it.
Yeah.
So
It's a good point, though. I think, everyone kind of shits on one and says they are so shady, so they're not transparent. I think this kind of shit goes on in multiple organizations. It's not just one championship. So we need to criticize every organization if they do that as well. But yes, one does have a lot of, what's the opposite of transparent? Translucent? No, I can't remember. Yeah, opaque.
There we
Elements.
go.
I don't know. Yeah,
We
there are
know
things
words,
I'd like
you guys.
we know words. Yeah, there's a lot of things in one I'd like to know more about, and I think a lot of people would. Yeah, is that drug testing, what's going on there, the hydration system. These are things I think that are going to come to the fore if they push for these US shows.
Right.
And if they want to get a US TV deal and put on 50 live events, they say it every year in the US. I think these are the things they're going to have to deal with and figure out, and they're going to be pushed on. I don't know if it depends if there's commissions and things like that. Where are they putting on these shows? Are they going to be in casinos on tribal lands and things like that? I don't know. We'll find out. Prediction for Smith versus Span, asked Tristan.
That's the next event.
Jesus, is it? Is that the main event?
Yeah.
My God.
They've been a little rough recently, haven't
Yeah.
they?
Wow, that is. Oh, wow.
How's that card looking? Pull it up for us.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I'll bring it on screen.
Because yeah, they're all a blur
Yeah.
to me, man. Like I don't know which fights are where these days.
Okay. This is Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann.
Hey,
Keita Lava
speaking of Jim
Clark.
Miller,
Jim Miller. Nicholas Mota. Ariane Lipski's back. Okay.
fighting for the job.
Yeah.
Buckley.
Oh, Buckley's back. Armin. Prelims. Let's have a look.
Oh, Panny Raquel's on that one. All right.
Your buddy Penny.
Yeah.
Drake's exclusive interview from which show was it?
That was the Glendale one, 263. You know what? I should. That's next week. I should. Fuck, that's probably might be a little too late to message her now. I'll have to wait till after, assuming she wins.
Put it in the diary. Go on.
Uh,
Wrong Zhu's back. Nice.
Against Dakota Harry Bush. That's his nickname. Did you know that?
That's great. That is great.
Blanchfield's debut. You guys, I'm telling you, maybe the best female prospect out there right now in MMA. Very much do not miss that fight with Sarah Alpar. Blanchfield is the truth. I think 22, maybe 21-ish, very young, sensational grappler, won the EBI, I think before she debuted in MMA even, and her striking is coming along very well. She should be 7-0. She got robbed against Tracy Cortez in Invicta. That is a fight you will not want to miss because she's going to be around for a while.
You heard it here from Drake.
Yep.
Emily Whitmire, she had the awful weight cut.
Yeah.
A year or two ago, right?
Yeah, I don't know why she's continuing to stick with strawweight.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
4-4 record. Interesting.
And Alatang's back as well.
Oh, so a couple of people I can follow for the South China Morning Post. Sounds good. Impa Kasanganai, who defeated our boy Sasha Palatnikov. The bastard.
Yes, how dare he?
Yeah, he's back. All right. Yeah, it's not a terrible card. I'll be watching.
I think I like the prelims more than the main
card.
I
do as well. But also, Jake, I think it's good when you get a week off UFC like we have this week. And then I'm kind of feeling refreshed by the week after to watch whatever it is they serve up. And then it feeds into the pay-per-view afterward, which looks very, very good. And you're going to be there for SCMP.
Yes. I'm very excited. It feels like I haven't got to travel.
Can't hide it. Yeah. But what are you going to do? Where are you going to stay? You said you can't stay with Amy.
I know.
She's got family over or something. So you're going to be out on the streets or what?
I got a spot next to the Apex, so it'll be okay.
That's not bad. Anything else going on in town then that you can go and catch?
Well,
so I think the last time they had a pay-per-view in Vegas, or was it SummerSlam was on, and also Manny Pacquiao was fighting. It seemed like a crazy weekend.
That was not when I was there. When was SummerSlam? I think was by itself. They had a bunch of concerts though. It was like the first time having some concerts back and everything. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, for this one, I mean, Contender Series is going on right now, right in the middle of the season. So I think I'll be able to get at that one. I fly in time. I'll have to, go settle down and then go right to which is right next to me. So it'll be okay. Yeah. Go to Contender Series right when I get there on the Tuesday. And the day after, I believe, will be the Hall of Fame stuff. So we'll have a lot of exciting content for you guys from the Hall of Fame ceremonies.
You better.
Yeah. See if I can grab GSP. It's going to be fun, man. There'll be a lot of people there. And then, the fights themselves. But International Fight Week.
I'm expecting an exclusive one-on-one with GSP.
Okay. I shouldn't have said that.
Let me down. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
I delivered last time with Ramona. So
yeah. Let's see if you can get GSP. That'd be big.
Mm-hmm.
We'll preview that card when it comes to it a little bit more. But let's get some comments up here. Dylan says, my buddy thinks the One Secret Council sounds like an Attitude Era faction. That's not bad. It's not bad. What's this with factions now? In AEW, everyone's in a faction, a group. You know,
You know,
it's overkill.
it's funny. I really didn't like QT's group at first, but I kind of like them now. I've grown on me a little bit.
You like them because Billy Gunn, the ass man,
The
joined up,
ass
didn't
man,
he?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No.
So
Yeah,
many
yeah, no
asses, so
doubt about
little time,
it.
as his
Exactly,
song
man.
says. Except a lot in the house. If one puts on more than a show a week, no one will be able to follow it except a few journalists. Yeah, they're planning on doing Fridays and Saturdays, I think, is the plan. One in the US and one in Asia, and they want to do it every
Oh
week.
wow.
Oh, that's madness. It'll certainly make my job hectic and very busy. So we'll see.
How many do they put on regularly a year, Nick? Do you know? Like rough estimate?
Um, it was creeping up to about 50 before the pandemic, and it's obviously slowed down a lot more. And do you count these pre-tape cards as different events? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But for the since last about a year ago, they've been putting on, let's say, one event a month in terms of booking an arena and all that, and they've been padding the broadcasts out.
Yeah.
But now they're back to two a month. You know, one mid-month, one end, or one early, one end a month. So that's better. I prefer that system. Two big shows a month is enough for me. They can stack the cards as well because they've got a lot of people who've been waiting for fights for a while, a bit of a backlog. And yeah, we got prelims back. So we're getting 10, 12 fights, much better than 5 or 6. Will you interview Penny prior to her fight? Asked Tristan.
That's what I was getting
Yeah.
at is I don't know if I'm gonna have time now. I'd have to hit her up like right now, and then I'm gonna be gone for the weekend. It's gonna be tough. I'll see for you, Tristan, if I can squeeze it in.
Well,
Thank you.
you have a good chemistry
Thank you, sir.
with Penny, says Tristan.
Yeah.
Terrence asks, should the media be able to call Dana out without fear of being banned? Dan seems to get asked questions. Dana seems to get asked questions that are tough, but no one asks follow-up questions on their podcast. They have an opinion. Yeah, I think we touched on it a little yesterday, how journalists in MMA, it's kind of tough for them to really grill these promoters for fear of getting their credentials revoked. And that's just the way it is, isn't it, Drake? You know, you've got to do your job. You've got to go to these events. If you can't go, you can't make money. You can't, your career gets affected. It's a tough reality of MMA media, I think.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think this completely circles back to what we saw on what was that Tuesday with the Lee media day. Is I'm under the firm belief that no question is off limits, especially, and it just really matters about how you kind of frame it and set it up. Like for example, you mentioned Dana here, Terrence. I've asked him some things that a lot of people were like, from past interviews that weren't followed up on, and they're like, why the hell didn't they follow up on that, and yada yada, and like, well, we bring up the fear argument and all that. But then, like, for example, what was the thing I asked Dana about was the health insurance thing, which was brought up before I spoke to him, and I wanted like more of a thought on it. He didn't get mad at me. I actually think Dana likes me from the brief interactions that we've had, but I
Probably
think
doesn't
that
know who you are.
yeah, I mean, well, you remember this Maine, Nick. That's why I have faith that he remembers
How
me.
can he forget you?
I know, that's the thing. It's
Because
all
you're always
gimmicky,
asking
you
him
guys.
about Rizin. He's like, who's this fucking guy asking me about
It's
Rizin?
by
All right.
design. That
Yeah.
is by design.
Of course he's
So,
gonna remember you. Oh, it's the
yeah.
Rizin guy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
With the bow tie and the blonde hair.
You guys, there's a method to my madness. But the point is, I think that there is a way to ask absolutely anything you want, unless it's like super stupid, ridiculous, right? But it's just a matter of how you present it. So some people, they don't have that art mastered, obviously. So
yeah, we got into that. If you want more on that, Terrence, we did debate it a lot yesterday on the show, in the light of the Lee family media day, when a reporter asked her about going on, I think he called it vacation when she had a baby, pregnancy vacation. Was not
taking the high
worded
road.
Yes. Chris says that one needs 40 plus shows with all of the MMA, kickboxing, and Muay Thai. Yes, I think they definitely have a very, very stacked roster now. A lot of divisions and 3 sports, like you say. They were teasing the return of grappling. So what have we got? Yeah, they'll be at 24 a year now. Let's say if they do 2 every month. So I think they're going to need more. Yeah. definitely. But I think that's why they're thinking the US. They might put on 24 shows there, and we'll move on from that. Tristan saying if Pani wins this fight, you think she might get a number one contenders fight with a 5-fight win streak?
She has to. She absolutely has to. Yeah, I was feeling that.
Oh no, wrong one. Didn't mean to cricket you there.
I know. I was like, which one am I getting here?
Yeah.
I was thinking, after the last win, the next fight could have been, a title eliminator. But the Raquel one is what was supposed to originally be, not Alexis Davis, and then she was still wanting that as is. We're getting it now. Yeah, if you look at how the division is, and things actually get a little interesting here, Tristan, with the fact that GDR now so unfortunately out of that Aldana fight, Nick. I was so excited for that, and I honestly hope they rebook it, because if you think of the timeline, Nunes and Pena is going to be December 11th, which is actually after that Madison Square Garden event. So if you rebook that fight, depending on how bad GDR's injury is, I haven't seen what it is, you could put it like around that, push it back like a month or whatever. Because if Aldana wins, clearly she should get the title shot. GDR wins, obviously she knocks off a contender. I don't think you give her a title shot against Nunes, who has beaten her twice already now so quickly after seeing it at UFC 245. I mean, I know that was a while ago, but still a little soon for having the 2 losses and all that. Pani, she could slide into that mix no matter who it's against. We'll see what happens with Aspen Latta and Macy Chiasson too. But I mean, yeah, the winning streak she's putting together it's better than anyone not named Nunes is, right? So she is right there, man. She is right there.
Oh fuck! I just seen a message from John saying, "Do you need me on the podcast?" And I only just replied, "Yeah, John, if you want to jump in now, man, I probably could do another 15 minutes. I don't know if you're still watching, but yeah, I've got to go at 12. I've got a quick meeting. Some big things in the works for SCMP MMA. I'll just say that. Important meeting. Terrence has a last question before he goes off to bed. Any word on Bellator kickboxing? They need to bring it back or stop saying they have champions.
Dead in the water. Yeah. It's dead in the water. I don't care what they say. It's a good tool to use for, like, let's say Denise Keyholtz, who was the last and I guess technically still the champion of kickboxing for them, but they haven't had an event, I want to say, since like 2017-ish, Nick. So it's like it's been a while. Let me see if I could scroll through their event list here. And if it'll say, I don't know if they separate the kickboxing and just Bellator. It doesn't look like it, but it's been multiple years now, Terrence. So I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Okay. I feel so bad. JHK wanted to join us, talk about Horiguchi.
The terrible trio.
The terrible trio were close to being reunited. I've spoiled it. Okay. Bellator Dynamite was a weird event, says Tristan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know. I'll trust you guys on that. Well,
it was the one where they did the ring and the cage next to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds weird. Well, like a war game type of thing. Or...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I can't see much else in the news. I'm just scouting MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting for anything else big that we could chat about. It's just all Tito Anderson and Holyfield.
Not even MMA.
Yeah. Jake Paul still seems to be commanding attention. It's weird, isn't it? The pivot from... I know it gets clicks, but do you really want to cover this shit? You know?
No, it's my least favorite thing.
Yeah. I covered Jake against Askren, and yeah, that story went off crazy, like 100,000 views or something, and I was like, okay, cool, but did I enjoy doing it? No.
No.
And then I didn't follow up. I didn't do anything on Jake Paul and Woodley. I don't think that did much traffic. For someone else wrote something, but yeah, I don't really want to do it. It's the principle. It's the principle. Yeah. It's like I'm just gonna bury them again, but Asian MMA, yeah. I'm burying them because they didn't credit me. They didn't credit me for the review results. You know, I broke that news, and then they just wrote up an article saying Our sources confirmed the review didn't go Denise's way. Credit me, you geeks. Come on.
I've noticed they're not very good about crediting in general, honestly.
It's so easy to do, right? Just put a link to SCMP, or SCMP itself has an editorial policy we can't link out. So I'll put the video of, if I write up an interview from another outlet, I'll put the video in there, very high up, just to, you got to credit. It's a wild west out here. It's a jungle, and everyone's just cannibalizing each other instead of pushing each other up. I hate it. Everyone ripping off each other's stories just to get them clicks. It's like, just give them a retweet. You have to steal the thunder. Anyway,
yeah.
What was I saying? Yes, they've pivoted a little bit to bikini pics and things.
There we go. Zamboanga.
Yeah.
You can't even tell that's her.
Yeah. Angela Lee coming for the strawweight strap. Yes, Angela did announce that she wants to face the winner of this Grand Prix and then we're moving up to the strawweight division. Yeah. So it looks like they're going to do the Panda trilogy then. And you think they'll fast track that, Angela vacating the belt? If she beats the winner of the Grand Prix, I think I would like to see Angela hang around a little bit longer, especially if she wins.
Yeah.
Because there's so many good fights there now. It'd be a shame if she went up, because there's no one in strawweight for her. She's already faced Panda and she's already faced Nicolini. It's like Tiffany Teo and Akamiora, maybe, but the fights I want to see is down in atomweight.
Yeah, I mean, even for Panda, I'd love to see her go back down for that business there. But no, totally, man. It's like she absolutely would go for the double champ again. I mean, think about it, Nick. At the time that fight, that first one was originally made, right? If it would have happened when it was supposed to, she had the chance to be the first woman in MMA period she would have had the chance to beat Nunes to having 2 titles. But obviously, I think that was when she had an injury, or her back was still messed up a little bit, and then it delayed it, and then she lost anyway, so it didn't matter. But of course, it would be, I think, they wouldn't vacate. They'd let her, do the double champ thing if she could win.
Yeah, she didn't look comfortable at strawweight in both of her fights. And I think if she goes up, I would like to see her commit to it and do it properly. But it feels like she would still hold the atomweight belt and try and defend both. Because, like I said, there's nothing up there in that division for her to do. I'd rather she waits a while. If she can try and clear out the atomweight division, and then go up, and by that time, maybe one will have built a proper strawweight division. That's my 2 cents, but I'm pretty sure they will just put her against Panda next year.
I'm not mad at that, man. Those are 2 of the best fights I've ever seen.
They were great, yeah. It's funny, though, because Angela going up didn't seem strong enough, and Panda going down, she didn't seem strong enough.
Yeah.
Like her power was very zapped, and Angela was just eating those punches, whereas in the first fight, she was fucking landing with them.
120 catch weight? Do we do that then?
Yeah, we can do that. I didn't think she did bad at all against Nicolini, says Seppi a lot. I've never rewatched that fight because I was there live and it was boring as fuck. So I've never gone back. It was just a dreadful fight. So from what I remember, it was Nicolini. Yes, we do not score rounds in one, but Nicolini first 2 rounds, Angela third round. And she stifled Angela very well, very effectively. I don't want to see that rematch particularly. And I did not enjoy Nicolini v Panda on last Friday. It was possibly the weakest match on the card, I thought, at the end of it. Or the least
nothing for her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that about does it. Again, post-fight podcast, boys. Hopefully I've entertained you a little bit on this Thursday night.
4 horsemen. The two
Yes.
four horsemen.
Yes. I don't know when we're going to be back. I'm not sure because yes, there's no UFC this weekend, this Sunday. So I'll be honest, probably not going to do anything.
Rizin
On
preview
Sunday.
next week. We can work that out.
We
at
can
some
do
point.
that. Yes. I'm keen to do more of these though. If you guys like them and enjoy them and want us to do more, I'm happy to do it and expand our coverage because they're fun. I enjoy it. But yes, next week should be a little busier. Rizin preview. UFC is back, like we just said. I'm trying to think of what else. I've got a few One Championship interviews lined up with some of the Revolution card. Doesn't stop, baby. It keeps rolling. But Mr. Riggs, what have you got coming up, if anything? And where can people find you?
Yeah, well, at Drake Riggs _ always, Twitter and Instagram. Apparently now I gotta see if I can grab Panny before she gets to Vegas. Do that for Tristan. I would love to catch up with her anyways. I actually wanted to. I just been slow with this start of this month. But yeah, so I am actually waiting kind of till next week to really get back to a whole bunch of stuff because got that beach trip with the boys. Tomorrow I'm leaving, so it'll be crazy. Beach Boys. Give me a sound effect, Nick. There we go. So,
you can have a magic album.
Yes. Fun little mini reunion of sorts for like 10 of us. But other than that, I have that retrospective that I dropped with Mengbo and Zhang Weili's careers. You can see that on myMNews.com. And then I still haven't released my Marlus Kunin bit from our lengthy chat that we had for my big history project. But I don't know if I'll get that out before next week or not because I'm trying to decompress as I get ready for the trip. So not a whole lot from me aside from all the podcasting fun that we've been doing and whatnot in that retrospective. So yeah, all good fun though.
Yes, go decompress. Enjoy it. Enjoy the trip. A rare weekend off for me as well. So I will enjoy it. I don't have any plans though. Literally nothing planned.
There's some gaming.
I'm playing football tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I played last week with the old speckled men, my team, and came off the bench for the last 5 minutes, and they stuck me up front because I don't think they trusted me to play in defense because I'm not very good. So I went up front and then scored the last goal in a 3-0 win. It was a triumph.
Attaboy.
Yeah. First game of the season for the Speckles, top of the league, I think. First time in history the club has won its opening fixture of the season. So we're looking to go back to back, baby. 6 points on the board. Tomorrow, I'll be making the trip to Chungkwano, which is very far away. Yeah, we'll have the bus there, I think. I don't know. Maybe not, actually. We might get a bus back. It's always fun. So that's my weekend. Drake's going to the beach with his buddies. I hope you all have a good weekend too, guys. Everyone who's watched in the chat, be safe wherever you are in the world. Enjoy it. Have a beer or 3 and come back next week for more excellent podcasts. Let's say, I don't know, Monday maybe. I'm off on Mondays usually, but yeah, if it warrants it, I could do a little podcast at home. Otherwise, be back Monday night US time, Tuesday morning Asia time. That's usually when we kick the week off here on SCMP MMA. So, yes, have a good one all. And for Drake, I'll say goodbye. But Drake, if you want to say goodbye, you can say goodbye too.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right.